Welcome to the Breath of God YouTube channel. This is episode number 2, the Genesis of Drama. So in the book of Genesis, you see all kinds of drama. You see this in 4 universal events and 4 individuals. You see God ruling and reigning in his sovereignty in the headlines, and you also see God ruling and reigning in the lives of his covenant people. So the key to understanding the book of Genesis is Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 12:1 through 3. So Genesis 1:1 says, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth." And then in Genesis 12:1 through 3, you see God's great and precious promises to Abraham, who responded by faith in obedience to the call of God. So the Genesis 1 through 11 is the first half. Genesis 12 through 50 is the second half. And then woven throughout the book of Genesis is the development of messianic prophecies. And I'll focus just on the explicit promises of Messiah. So first is God's eternal priority of worship. So in Genesis 1 is creation of the world. Genesis chapter 2 focuses on the creation of man and woman. And through creation, God communicates that I am the source of everything that is seen and created in the world. In Genesis 3 through 4, you see God's moral authority. You see this in the fall of man, Cain and Abel. God says, this is right, this is wrong. And he's the one who has the distinct moral authority of determining right and wrong. Now, when we get to Genesis chapter 6 through 9, this is God's, I like to call it judicial prerogative, meaning he not only determines what is right and wrong morally, he also has the authority to exercise both salvation and judgment. And so you see that in Genesis 6 through 9 in the flood judgment. And then you get to Genesis 10 through 11, which is the Tower of Babel. Basically, mankind decides to rebel against God again and build a tower in disobedience to God's command to spread throughout the earth and fill it. So God comes down and says, well, change of plans. He disrupts the language. So at that time they were speaking one language, and then scatters them throughout the earth. So this is the Genesis explanation for language, culture, and nations. And then when you come to the second half of Genesis, God calls out an individual, Abram, and he says, I will bless you, I will make your name great, whoever curses you will be cursed, whoever blesses you will be blessed, and all nations on earth will be blessed through you. So it begins with Abraham. And then it progresses to Isaac, and then after Isaac is Jacob. And then Jacob has 12 sons. But the story of Genesis mostly focuses on the story of Joseph. And then if we go over to the Messianic promises, you see the first one is in Genesis 3:15, where God promises that he's going to send an individual, a seed, a singular person, who will be the offspring or seed of woman that will crush the serpent. And then from there, you see this promise of Messiah develop further in Genesis chapter 3, which is the blessing of Abraham. This individual is going to come through the line of Abraham. And then it goes further, the seed that God is promising, seed meaning an individual person, is going to come out of the union between Abraham and Sarah. When God first called them, it was Abram and Sarai, and he changes their name, which is an indication of God's putting his divine life into this couple, and he's going to bring forth a seed, and we see, and Isaac is born out of that. And Isaac is going to carry the blessing, the seed is going to continue through Isaac. And then we go further. Isaac has a son, Jacob. Jacob has 12 sons. And then towards the end of his life, Jacob, by divine inspiration, states that the scepter will not depart from Judah until the one comes to whom it belongs. So Judah, this is further narrowed down. The Messiah is going to come through the line of Judah, and this one is going to be a king. He's going to be the seed of woman, which is a forecast of the Immaculate Conception, which you see in the New Testament. And this whole story is carried on through the rest of the Bible. So you have 4 universal events. God is in the headlines. You have 4 individuals. God is in the quiet lives, working in his covenant people, and he's bringing forth Messiah, the seed. And that is Genesis. Thank you.